Hello and welcome to the midweek remedy with me, James Thacker. This is the first video content that I'm doing, and it's very exciting. Now, it's going to be a bit of a learning process. As you can see, everything's a little bit dark around me now. Still trying to get the lighting correct. There we go. But we're here. I'm trying my best, and hopefully, we can have a good time. Please excuse my black eye. I am not, in fact, wearing eyeliner. This came from a little bit of a accident at training last week on Tuesday. It's not a particularly interesting story, but basically, a bloke's whacked me in line out training. It was nothing too tasty, so there you go. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic week so far. I'm recording this on a Monday night. Now, I'm absolutely buzzing this evening because London Pulse won. Ziggy's team. They won 43-41, and Ziggy ended up getting player of the match. So it is a happy, happy household in House Thacker tonight. We're absolutely buzzing. They played really, really well. And hopefully that they can carry that momentum now in for the rest of the season and finish really strong. But Ziggs, we're all proud of you and well done. Absolutely smashed it tonight. It was a super physical game, and I think she probably expected that, considering that Surrey Storm are actually her old club, and so I think there's a little bit of a tasty rivalry in there. But there you go, they got the win. Absolutely, the girls are coming up clutch. For me, with a very important turnover in the game. Lefebvre just absolutely smashing it, and no, I'm proud. I'm proud of Ziggy for the big performance they put in. So well done, girls. At least one of my teams won this weekend. Spurs, obviously, losing another cup final, another opportunity to win some silverware. Um, I wasn't too rattled by it, to be honest, because it's Man City and they are one of the best teams that have played the game under Pep Guardiola. So I think I went into that thinking, expect to not win. Um, as much as you don't want to say that as a football fan, but I kind of went in there thinking that this is going to be tough. We sacked Jose Mourinho, who I think it divided opinion as to how and when he should be sacked. I think it was inevitable that he was going to be. Whether he should have been sacked a week before a cup final, I really don't know. But it definitely seemed to coincide with the European Super League announcement. And I think as a guy that has won so many competitions, and especially when he won them with teams like Porto, who were definitely underdogs, and he's won the Champions League with Porto. I think he actually may have won two. It might be mistaken, but I think he's a traditionalist, and I can imagine that he's probably had something to say when the European Super League got announced. And I think there were rumours that he refused to take the players out onto the pitch, and so consequently, I think that would have probably rubbed the chairman Daniel Levy up the wrong way, and so then departed. And then in his place came Ryan Mason, who is a bit of a Spurs, I suppose, cult figure. He's 29, but he had to stop playing because of a severe head injury that he suffered playing for Hull City. He did play for Spurs all the way through the age groups, and then I think it's kind of he's landed his dream job, although massive expectations put on his shoulders to try and bring in anything, especially in the way of silverware on Sunday in the EFL Cup. So, I don't think we could have expected that of him. Had a short amount of time to work with the players. I think we've been too bad for too long, and we couldn't have expected to beat a team that are going to go on and win the league. So there you go. It's another trophyless season for Spurs. It's the hope that kills you, which actually is a beautiful segment into a little shout out to Ollie, who I recorded a podcast with on Sunday night, not talking about the game in particular, but talking about the state of football. And his podcast is called The Hope That Kills You. Like me, he is a fan of a club who are very keen on torturing their fans. So he actually supports Arsenal. But we were talking about the state of the European Super League that was announced and has now been kind of cancelled or rescinded. And I had a fantastic time talking to Ollie. It was really interesting to pick his brain and see what he thinks of the whole thing. He approached it from a business angle as well as a football fan, and I approached it from full just I want to see a romanticized version of the sport, and I completely kind of tore down the plans. And I think we had a really interesting debate. And actually, I think we had a bit of preamble as well. And I think he's going to send me over the clips of some of the things that we were talking about beforehand. It's just talking about general life and how things have been during lockdown, and how life is for us, especially him as a new business owner. So I'm going to release some of those clips when they come over. But please go and check out that podcast, because I think if you have an interest in sport, or just the way that society is going in general, where it seems to be just so profit orientated, then I think you'll be interested in that podcast. So I urge you to go have a look. Obviously, I'll share the links and all the information about that on my social media. I hope you enjoy it as much as I had fun recording it with Ollie. You might notice that my nose is slightly red and I've got slightly flushed cheeks. Well, that is because I'm just about getting over the sunburn that I encountered at the weekend. I played a really fun inter club tournament, touch tournament at the rugby club on Saturday, and I tell you, it was really, really fun. However, I did not expect it to be that warm, and consequently, I have absolutely singed my shoulders. There you can see the tan line there. Incredibly embarrassing. There you go. Um, to the point where I actually woke up twice in the night because of how painful it was. These burns on my shoulders. So, bit of what's it called? Public service announcement. Put your sun cream on, everyone, when you're going out. I know it seems quite cold, and it's probably, if we're honest, I did see something did make me chuckle actually. Twitter, someone put out there, let's be honest, I'm going to say something and no one else wants to say it, but it's too cold for beer gardens. No one wants to admit this in England because we've been gagging for it for so long. But I went out to for a few pints and to dinner with Ziggy last week, and in the shade, it is freezing cold. Like, everyone's wrapped up in blankets, hoodies, coats. In any other year that there's not a global pandemic going on, you're not going to a beer garden. So I don't know who we're trying to kid, but but I really hope that everyone's gone out there and enjoyed themselves. I think it's important to get back socialising. It's important to get back supporting these local businesses. Um, as much as it's a difficult time to go out and book places. I know that places are being booked like almost a month in advance, where places are really, really popular. But even locally, it's difficult to get a place. But it's important that we support these local businesses now because of everything that we've been through, and hopefully before too long things will get back to normal. We can start eating back inside again and having that option of whether to freeze our nudges off or or not. But yeah, I had a really fantastic time, and actually I had a new appreciation for touch rugby completely, because there are some really specific rules that I didn't realize, and some of the vets were completely showing me how to play this game. Vets, when I say vets, I mean veterans. And there was one guy on my team who knew the rules inside and out, and who was taking people on. And I think because every time you make a touch, you have to retreat 5 meters. And when you have to do that consecutively in a short space of time, it's absolutely knackering. And he knew that, so he knew how to exploit the rules. And we were just getting front foot ball the whole time. And our team actually was really successful. We got to the final, but unfortunately lost to a more experienced touch team. But a really, really fantastic event. Thank you, Bishop Stortford, for putting that on, and the organisers and the referees, because that was absolutely fantastic. I know that everyone enjoyed the day. I think you can tell, and I've been saying this, every single rugby session I'm coming back from now, because my team is back into full training pretty much. We're training on Tuesday and Thursdays, and you can just tell how much it means to people. Every single session, we're coming away and going absolutely buzzing. I'm so happy that things are back. Not just from the physical exercise point of view and getting the endorphins flowing, but actually being able to talk to people, being able to socialize, being able to tell your mates things, like get excited about things that have happened, or have a chinwag, or even talk about things that aren't going so well, and having someone to talk to, having your teammates notoriously you are a lot closer to than lots of other people, because in rugby especially you go through a lot together. And I think that that does allow people to open up a bit more. So the fact that that's coming back, you can just feel the energy. You can feel things are getting a lot more positive, and I'm absolutely here for it. I feel it myself, and I just think things are going in the right direction. Having said that, the government's announcement to say that the pandemic is now over, I believe I think I saw this on BBC News or somewhere it was reported that I think Downing Street said that the pandemic is now over. Now, for me, that's an incredibly risky statement because people aren't abiding by the rules now. So if you're going to go out and just say, yeah, the pandemic's now over, then all hell's going to break loose. Because if you think people have been cooped up now, we're trying to do the best we can. We're trying to get out there, enjoy ourselves, support local businesses, all within the rules mostly. But there are so many examples where we've already seen mass gatherings, and you already start to see televised events where the football, thousands of fans have been congregating, and they didn't even space them out. That's something that I was a little bit curious about. I thought they were going to be dotted around the stadium, not just concentrated in one area, so that you could kind of police the amount of infection that was spread if there was going to be any. I think actually the main reason why they didn't have a bigger crowd in is probably because of the transport systems, especially if you think when you're trying to get to Wembley, if you've ever been to Wembley, that you've got to go in on the tube, extremely packed in. You're literally body to body. You're that close to someone's face, and so the transport's the main risk there. But even so, people will see that in the stadiums and go, well, there's mass gatherings now, so surely that gives me liberty to then go to that house party I want to, or go to that big gathering in the park, or go have dinner with 20 other people. And so I think the government saying that the pandemic's over, they do run the risk now of people just going, oh, you know what, the R rate's down, death rate's down, things look like they're going in the right way. This is going to be over in a little while anyway. I'm just going to take the risk. I'm just going to do what I want to do because realistically, it's very difficult to police. And I think we're so close now. It would be such a shame if we start letting each other down by letting the R rate creep back up again, and then if there is another lockdown, I think that's going to break a lot of people's wills, including my own, because that will most likely mean that we can't get back to work properly. We can't get back to playing rugby. That's probably the biggest thing for me, is that I just want rugby to restart properly. I think we've got games scheduled for the end of May. I'm begging for them to be on. And I just really hope that there's no more disruption to the regular season next year, because I think that's what a lot of people are hanging their hats on, for that little bit of hope that keeps them going. So I hope that we can come through. One thing that I did see over the weekend that did grind my gears, not to sound too much like Peter Griffin from Family Guy, but was a rebellion or an anti-lockdown protest where people were turning up in the thousands. I saw a lot of people at those protests, and they were talking about an anti-lockdown process, talking about COVID being a hoax and all these kind of things. I think you have got to be kidding me. It benefits absolutely no one for COVID to be a hoax. It's a massive slap in the face for all the NHS workers that we're all applauding, and that we're all urging on. I just these people are so self-sacrificial in everything that they do, and to then go on a march 2 months before the lockdown is over. 2 months is nothing. It is absolutely bonkers, and I just can't wrap my head around why people would do that. So if you're one of those people, just get firmly in the bin and stay there and just cement it shut, and just but there is really not that long to go now, and the restrictions are easing up. Up to the June the 21st, we're going to be able to go on holiday again. We're going to have our liberties. So I don't get the motivation behind protesting at this stage. It's crazy. I know people are frustrated. I know people want to get back to their regular lives. They don't want to live in fear. But it is a scary time, and it's going to be a scary time until we finish. But this is the short term. We need to get this done in the short term for the long run vision, and that's what gets me. It's this myopic tendency that people just can't see past the end of their nose, and they want everything now. And it's this kind of like societal demand where we need everything now and everything quickly. And there's no, I had the thought the other day. This has obviously been a very difficult time for everyone, but this is, by no means been the biggest sacrifice that humans have ever had to make. Up to, less than 100 years ago, our ancestors were making the biggest sacrifice of their lives in a world war. And if they were to see how some people behave these days in an anti-lockdown protest because of something, an invisible war that we're fighting against, something that is has ruined many lives and taken many lives, they would be turning in their graves at the thought. And it did make me a bit sad. So I just, you know, thankfully, I think everyone that listens to this podcast, they'll be going about the right practices and doing the right thing. But let's just urge others to just see this out, get it done. Let's look after each other, stay safe, and hopefully before too long things will be back to normal. And we've got such a great summer to look forward to. The, just imagine the feeling that June 21st, everyone's back. You don't need to worry about, can I hug this person? Can I? It's all back to normal now. We can go clubbing again. We've potentially got the Olympics, the Euros. We've got so much to look forward to. It's going to be. I kind of make a comparison. One of the best summers that I've had was that 2018 summer when the World Cup was on. Everyone came together as a nation. Everyone was everyone's best mate, and everyone got so excited and came together in that kind of what's the word, like community spirit to support the team. And even if we're taking it away from a sports scenario, everyone's just going to be so happy to be back out and seeing faces, seeing different faces to the ones that they've seen for the last 12 months or more. And it's going to be a fantastic buzz. Genuinely, I cannot wait. It's going to be such a party. um, but only if we all work together. So let's keep doing the right thing. Let's keep supporting each other through these hard times. I was thinking on the way back from the gym today that even though we're past the worst of it now, I still think it's going to take a little while for people to get back to normal in terms of their socializing. Even I felt it a little bit. I felt like sometimes I'm missing social cues, or if my energy's dipped or I'm tired that day, I can potentially seem standoffish. And I think we need to give each other patience, because it is going to take a while for people to come back to normal and to start socializing like we were before. So let's stick with each other. Let's look after each other's mental health. It's still, there are still big challenges there, and making sure that we urge people to speak out and talk through how they're feeling, and offer an ear. And beyond that, there's not really much more we can do. I think it feels like an ever more positive place to be in this country. Um, we have our challenges, of course, we do in lots of areas, but I believe in the power of people. That's something that I'm kind of more and more thinking. I believe more than anything in people and our ability to do good. So, when it really comes down to it, I know we can do it, and I know we've got it in the locker. Anyway, let's finish on that positive note. Everyone have an absolutely wonderful rest of the week. I'm going to release all the details of that, the podcast I released with Ollie. It's called The Hope That Kills You, with Ollie Garcia and Ben Calder. So go check that out as well. Thank you very much for listening or watching, if you are indeed watching, and I will be seeing you.